I'll do. Why am I smiling? First of all, to all the Irish contingent and everyone who kicked off about me with the Guinness. So I'm going to crack it. It has got a widget. I'm going to pour 2/3 of it, I believe, and then let it settle. Riot situations. I'm still smiling. I'm not smiling at the riot situations. I've been in a couple of situations that could have gone tits up, shall we say. Let me first tell you about a riot in the private sector at Forest Bank before I arrived there. I want to tell her this little story because it makes me chuckle. Sorry. Sorry, come on. Get your shit together, Sam. Right. At Forest Bank there was a riot. It was about 2000, 2001. I think it was D-Wing. It's irrelevant which wing. I'm sorry. I'm going to have to have a little drink of the Guinness even if it hasn't settled. It is a nice drink, by the way. Let me explain the layout of the wings at Forest Bank at that time. They're laid out like a flower. So you have a centre office, the Oscar One's office. You had 2 floors, 2 levels in that centre. That was a sterile area. As you come off the wings, that's the area you went into. Now each wing was separated into 2. So D wing was D1, and that was 2 landings. So you had a 1's landing and a 2's landing. There was a stairway at either end up to that, yeah? Above D1 was D2, which was another 2 landings, yeah? Same layout. So D1, 2 landings, separate unit to D2. We'll say it was D-Wing where the riot was. I know the 2 lads who were on the wing. They had somebody... well-known sort of enforcer from Salford on the wing. The lads were quite new, quite green. Basically, he told them to give him their keys and get off the wing, and that's something like what happened. It'd be very easy to be critical of that if you're not there at the time. So it kicks off on D1, yeah? About 4 hours it's going. What would normally happen in that situation, I weren't there so I can't tell you, but the main gates to the wing, what would usually happen is the prison would have large chains. So prisoners have got a set of keys, so they can't get off that wing. They would chain those gates with a big chain and a lock, so they're not getting off the wing. They can open cells if they've got a cell key, yeah, and away you go. They were starting fires, police helicopter. And away we go. On the wing, D1 on both floors and D2 on both floors, there was a C&R door, yeah? C&R door, large door, metal door, yeah? Behind that door was a flight of stairs. Now that flight of stairs would go all the way up. So if those C&R doors were open on the 1s and 2s on D1 and the 1s and 2s on D2, you could pop in, go from D1 to D2, back on to D2, both landings, yeah. Those doors were for prison officers, riot teams to come onto the wings in the event of a riot, which is what you got going on now. Now the prisoners on D1, the first floor, the bottom floor, went to great effort to break through that CNR door. Their plan was to get up to D2 and let all the prisoners out, yeah? Then you've got 180 prisoners rioting. That is a different ball game. You've got a full wing, about 180 prisoners. What they did, it took them about 4 hours, was broke through that door. They then went up a flight of stairs and they then presented with another door. So they then went at that door, and this will have taken some effort, this. You know, they might have had furniture, bits of metal or whatever, but it's going to take some doing. But they managed to break through that door, yeah? Back onto D1. So they went off the ones, through the CNR door, up a flight of stairs, broke back through onto the same wing. If they'd have gone up another flight of stairs, they'd have been on D2, and that'd have been a whole different ball game. Anyway, that aside, right, riot situations. Was the summer of 2015. I was on healthcare. There was a few staff on healthcare. Mid-afternoon, very quiet on healthcare, so there's an alarm bell on another wing. Now, if you've got a radio, you used to listen. So this is on E-Wing Outer. This is on the normal location prisoners opposite the Cat A unit. So you're listening on your radio. We don't know what's going on, just general. Usually, you know, after 5 minutes, an incident will get called as done. Anyway, came over the radio, all available outstations. That is, you know, it puts hairs up on back of your neck. What they're saying is, any staff available in the prison to that wing. Now, you don't know what you're going to. Yeah, nerve-wracking. Sorry, I'm still laughing about D1. Anyway, so we sets off. We've got 4 spare staff on healthcare. That was unusual. I think a couple of staff had been elsewhere, said they weren't required, so they're back on the wing. The wing was locked down at that time. So we set off. Now, it's a short run, but I'll tell you now, even the fittest prison officers, adrenaline kicks in. You know, you might be going a couple 100 metres. Yeah, your heart starts going, adrenaline, lactic acid in your muscles and that. So there's 2 lasses and another lad. So we sets off. We're going downhill towards E-Wing. We will be going in the back entrance and up a couple of flights of stairs. So the lad is with me is off like a gazelle. So, you know, being the old head, as it were, reminds me of a joke, this. Seeing as we're, you know, trying to have a bit of, I'm going to tell you the joke, I make no apologies. 2 bulls on a hill, an old bull and a young bull. And there's a field full of cows, and the young bull says, let's run down there and make love to a couple of them cows. The old bull says, let's walk down there and make love to them all. Yeah, I know it's not funny. My point is, I said to this lad, slow down. So he jogged. You don't know what you're going into, and you don't. Now, when we got there, 2 flights of stairs. By the time we got to the entrance to the wing, we are out of breath. The lasses are a short distance behind us. We goes onto the wing, boom. Hits you in the face, the atmosphere. Yeah. Probably 15 metres in front of us, there's a couple of lads on pool tables with pool cues, pool balls. There is a line of prisoners. It was reported later this. At the time, it could have been 200 to me. It was very intimidating. It was hostile. There was about 75 prisoners. So as I comes onto the wing, you know, takes up position me on the left-hand side of the landing. The landing's about 10 metres wide. Yeah, as I went onto the wing, I didn't notice the other staff. So I takes up position, prisoners about 3 metre gap between me and them, and looked, and there's a line of lads. Yeah, I took my baton out straight away. You hold your baton on your shoulder here so you don't hit anyone. Yeah, tense, you know. So I looked across, like I say, 7 or 8, 8 or 9, 9 or 10 lads with batons out. There was a couple of dogs already on the landing. Yeah, I'll come back to the dogs. Behind me, there was approximately 30 staff, stood well back, you know, between them 5 and 10 metres against the back wall. Yeah, obviously terrified. I was terrified as well. But, you know, adrenaline, fight or flight. Heated conversation for 2 minutes, 3 minutes, it could have gone either way. If it had been a riot, I would have said, you know, the lads with the dogs had been in the action, maybe 10 staff, maybe a few more. The others would have left the wing. The prisoners the same. There was probably maybe 20, 25 prisoners up for it. The others would have been watching. That's how it is. Again, fight or flight, not good. 2 governors on duty. The duty governor, yeah, was a lass who had been fast track promoted. She had a degree qualification, yeah, and she spent a couple of years going through the ranks, and she was now a governor at Strangeways. Every shift she was on her own. At the weekend, somebody had to be with her, nursing her, nursemaiding her, babysitting her. She went up to the job. Nice lass, not up to the job. You know, she was getting paid as a governor, however, she couldn't do it. There was a senior governor who I got on with. There was some negotiation. Yeah, I won't drag it out. It was incredibly tense. Back to the dogs. Let me tell you, lads will tell you, being in prison, them dogs at Strangeways and throughout the system, they are well trained. The dog handlers spend a lot of time training with them dogs. They are vicious. Yeah, you know, certain commands or whatever. If those dogs had been at the front of us, those prisoners, you could have pushed them down to the back wall, no questions. No one's arguing with them. Plenty of lads have been chased down by dogs, I'll tell you. They're ruthless. The dogs were never used. You know, they're a fantastic, I'm going to say weapon, for want of a better word. You know, they weren't used. Them dog handlers were there, they should have been used. But again, 20 different govers would have handled it 20 different ways. So the outcome of it, the outcome was it was de-escalated by the governor, a bit of negotiation. The lads agreed to go behind the doors. Staff put them behind the doors, and some of them were then taken to the segregation unit. Three of them, I believe, you know, who had been the main ringleaders, as it were. So a couple of points about these staff at the back. I'm not slating them staff. It was a scary situation. The reason the situation occurred, 2 landings, D-wing outer, yeah. So we're on the ones, you know, 10 metres wide, opposite the prisoners, ready to go. Above, you could see a situation, a lad had taken spies, and he died. Yeah, paramedics were already there, so it takes time to get people into prison. So they'd already been in the prison, got into the prison, and then it had kicked off because these lads were due exercise. The staff said, you need to go behind your doors, we've got an incident. That lad died, along with the nursing staff from Strangeways who attended, the paramedics. They got him breathing again. He went to hospital and, you know, he returned within a day. Yeah, those staff, it's a terrifying situation. A lot of people in prison are used to violence. You know, they've grown up with it. Staff, not so much. You know, a lot of people are gentle folk. You need them. A lot of people have humour. That's their greatest weapon. Interpersonal skills. That's their greatest weapon. It was a terrifying situation. Another point afterwards, like I said, I drew my baton. Maybe 10 lads drew their batons. A lad who I liked afterwards said to me, why did you draw your baton? I'm sure you guys can appreciate we have got a riot situation going on. So I looked at him, not in a way to make him feel small. I said, why didn't you draw your baton? He says, you can get in trouble. I says, what do you mean you can get in trouble? From the governor. You see, if you draw your baton, you have to fill in paperwork. You have to justify taking that baton out. We had a potential riot situation. Yeah, it could have gone either way, that. You know, I'm glad it didn't, but it could have gone either way. But here we have a member of staff who I liked. He was a good officer. You know, questioning drawing your baton. That is what you are up against. Okay, I'm going to leave it there, guys. Still chucked into myself, but, you know, again, these situations, yeah, thanks for coming. To all the Irish followers, I hope you, you know, not as upset with me for what I've just gone through with your Guinness. Okay, cheers. And those people who offered, if ever go to Ireland, 4 or 5 offers, if you come here, come and see us, we'll get you some beer, we'll put you up. Much appreciated, guys. Take care, everyone. Thanks for coming. Cheers.